Could Manchester United really be losing two first-team players on free transfers this summer? Watch the video to the end to find out about this. Raphael Varane and Jonny Evans have been Erik ten Hag's first-choice centre-back pairing for the past few weeks. Nobody expected Jonny Evans to sign for Manchester United in the summer, let alone claim Sir Matt Busby's Player of the Year award. Evans was photographed driving into Carrington in July, and sources have refused to rule out the possibility of him re-signing with United, suggesting the matter is being considered. The defender eventually signed a season-long contract to provide defensive cover in September, but he made 16 appearances in all competitions. Evans started United's last 5 matches, and his resurgence has been one of the stories of the season. Evans initially returned to Carrington to maintain his fitness levels following the expiration of his contract with Leicester, and this was arranged through his relationship with technical director Darren Fletcher. It is understood that the pair have remained close since their playing days and that Fletcher arranged for him to take part in training, but Evans subsequently impressed Erik ten Hag and was offered a deal. Evans thought his start against Burnley at Turf Moor in September, his first for the club since leaving in 2015, would be the highlight of his return, as he had not expected to be so involved in game. He described it as one of the best nights of his life, but there have been many such nights since then. Evans has been a brilliant stopgap measure, and some believe he should have a contract extension. The 36-year-old supported the club as a child, and he came through the academy to win several major trophies in a red shirt, so it is no surprise that he has struck a chord with the fans. Jonny Evans is red, he hates Scousers is regularly sung on the terraces, and he deserves his applause. Evans has been reliable when called upon and has exceeded expectations this season. The sticking point with Evans was whether he would be available after struggling with injuries at Leicester, and although he had a few issues, availability was not a big issue. There is an option to extend Evans' contract for another season and will be considered, especially given that his defensive partner Raphael Varane could leave in the summer. With Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, and Victor Lindelof out through injury, Evans and Varane have been the first pairing in recent weeks, and they have been excellent together at Anfield. However, both players are in the final 6 months of their contracts, and Varane feels he is being pushed out after the club signaled they were open to extending his contract, but crucially on lower terms. Evans was selected to replace Varane for the first part of the season, and the Frenchman was understandably irritated by his omissions despite remaining professional alongside Carrington and being named on the bench. Varane has performed well since his return to the starting 11, but he is celebrating his 31st birthday in April, and United feel he should no longer be among the highest-paid players in the team. When Varane is playing his best football, there is no denying that he is still United's highest quality defender, but there are signs of decline, and it would be logical to take him off the wage bill. If Varane leaves this summer, it could work to Evans' advantage, as 2 departures from an already weak area in the team would be impractical. This could mean his contract is extended for another season and a replacement is signed for Varane, who could be first choice alongside Martinez next season. Evans has shown he is a capable backup option, and the club could do worse than have him as a 5th choice again. He would also be happy in this role and continue to be a good influence on Carrington. The Northern Irishman is enjoying his new life at United, and another chapter could be written. Erik ten Hag handed Omari Forson his senior debut against Wigan in the 3rd round of the FA Cup on Monday night. Manchester United youngster Omari Forson has described his first-team debut as an honor. Forson joined Manchester from Tottenham's academy in 2019 and has since made excellent progress, establishing himself as a key member of the under-21 team. Erik ten Hag included Forson in the squad for the pre-season tour of the United States last summer, and 6 months later he was given the chance to make his first senior appearance against Wigan Athletic. United were leading 2-0 against Wigan in the FA Cup on Monday when Forson replaced Marcus Rashford in stoppage time, meaning he became the 249th academy player to make his debut for United. He spoke to MUTV after the game to reflect on his big moment. "I consider it a great honor. It took me a long time to get to this point, so I'm really glad that I finally got my minutes, said a delighted Forsen. There's nothing really going on in his head, just listen to what the manager said, come on, work hard and try to make an impact. Kobbie Mainoo has been playing quite a lot lately, and there are a lot of other kids from the academy who have come through the same system as me, so that has really helped me. Forsen trains regularly with the first team and is highly regarded by the Carrington coaching staff. Manchester United are expected to be kept busy in the January transfer window as Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe take stock of their recruitment department. Former Manchester United stars Gary Neville and Roy Keane believe the club must get its recruitment department right to make progress. The Reds are in the midst of the January transfer window with no major signings expected and loans the likely route for any acquisitions. United spent a lot of money in the summer with mixed results, and their recruitment policies over the past decade have been disjointed. Coupled with regular changes of managers, this means United have struggled for any continuity. With Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe completing their 25% investment in the club and taking over Sporting Matters, there is hope for improvement. Both Neville and Keane believe it is vital to get the ball rolling straight from the field and have the right people in place to allow the manager to focus on results. Neville, speaking on the Stick to Football podcast, said, "Why should a manager be responsible for spending £80 million and £20 million wages over 4 years on a player when he could potentially only be in the team for a year or two? Why should he be the one who signs the player? What happens is you go into the window with all the good intentions, everyone on the same page, thinking, we need 4 players, and you select the profile of the player you need. He has to be 6 tall foot, he's got to hold the ball, he's got to score 10 to 15 goals. You're looking for that profile, and then essentially you want your head of recruiting, your athletic director, and your scouting team to go out and bring back 3 or 4 really good options. And they bring those 3 or 4 options back to the table. The problem is that if you don't get those 3 or 4 balls because they're not available or the manager doesn't like them, then you're in a quandary." Keane agrees that giving all power to a manager can create problems. The former United midfielder believes a clear plan is important. He said, "There's this idea that managers should call the shots, but it's difficult. I've been a manager and I've bought players, I've bought decent players, but I look back and think, what was I thinking with some of them? Of course you have your staff and your head of operations, but ultimately it comes down to the manager. But I also had this problem when I was at a club where the owner insisted on a player. I resisted, but the player came and was not very good.